enjoy the show. Play on Perjangers.
So, Matt Man and the First Lady of Perjangers
He's been waiting for a long time to say that. A few weeks.
on the same podcast together, gang. That's what we're doing here today. And we sat down and watched Superman from James Gunn. And this is not a new podcast, gang. This is something that Big Brother and myself would do in the early days of Perjangers. It's called Spoiler Alert because we go through a scene. We just watched Superman, and we go from watching the movie straight over here to the podcast studio, and we talk about it, and we go through the whole show. So that's where, Big Brother is unavailable at the time of this thought bubble that came up. So I thought, what better way than to start off doing a podcast with my new girlfriend, Jillian McCullough, the First Lady of Perjangers, the candy queen of Perjangers treats.
All right, everybody stop clapping. Stop clapping. Let's get right into
You nerd. So we watched Superman, James Gunn. You're not a fan of the Gunn. Well, you haven't really watched a lot of his stuff.
No, but I will tell you, I am a huge fan of Sean Gunn. So I am an absolute fan of Sean Gunn. Now, I discovered Sean Gunn in high school or early high school, early middle school when I discovered Gilmore Girls. That's how I knew who Sean Gunn was. Now, Sean Gunn in Gilmore Girls is that goofy character that he kind of takes with him to a little bit of everything. Now, I love to see serious Sean Gunn sometimes. Mm-hmm. But in Gilmore Girls, his aspiration is to be a movie director.
Yeah.
And I take that as a little nod to James Gunn. Now, James Gunn has a little bit of an eclectic taste. When we watched that
That's a nice way to say that.
It is.
An eclectic taste.
Yeah. When we watched with that other show where I think Peacemaker.
Yeah.
I liked it in the beginning, but I couldn't really get into it. It seemed more, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Like more wacky or
like
jokey.
You don't even expect that when that kind of show. Now,
well, Peacemaker was shocking, and it was also like I said, he wasn't a very liked character in DC. He was pretty obscure. Peacemaker, who?
I never heard of him until we watched
He was just kind of added in here or there.
Right.
He wasn't like, Guy Gardner, once again, one of the not more popular Green Lanterns.
I loved him, though, in this.
But, he does have that kind of weird taste. Everybody sees Guardians of the Galaxy, James Gunn. Oh, that's James Gunn. Let's go see what he does. But they just think, oh, he just made a Guardians of the Galaxy. No, that was James Gunn. That's what made Guardians of the Galaxy. His weird, warped mind made that.
Now, watching Superman.
Yes.
I had to say first, 10 out of 10 on the effects. Now, I liked the effects, but I figured out the effects made up for and do not shoot me daggers. It really made up for the lackluster storyline. So the storyline that is coming from my point of view, like how I read it, was that they were searching deep. They were digging into the bag of like, what else can we bring out? Because if you watch all the Superman, I expressed before we watched the movie, I'm not really a Superman fan. I love Spider-Man. I love Deadpool, even though he's not really a superhero. But, like, that's where I'm more of
So from those two, you more ally towards the Marvel side of things.
I love Marvel. I've always loved Marvel. But
DC has not given you a reason to love them any recently.
In my 41 years,
look, that's why I don't think anybody's really going to argue with your point there, because James Gunn has a very high bar to appease everyone. And the thing I really love and respect about him is that he doesn't care.
No, and here's the thing, what I've learned about directors and people who want to direct and really well-seasoned directors is that everybody's got a different style. I personally, if I was going to direct something, I would not go with anything too cliche.
Yeah.
Now, in Superman, that one monster scene, which seemed
The kaiju, yeah.
it seemed like it didn't fit, and that was my personal take from it. It seemed kind of like they were like, all right, we got to fill in the gaps here somewhere.
It felt like I see that as like a quick gap filler. Oh, well, we'll add the kaiju because, you know, there's comic lore that is
Yeah, but some things it's just good to keep
nice
that out.
nods. I could see that as kind of like a filler kind of scene there with the kaiju. Not really that it didn't fit. It was a reason to introduce the Justice Gang because they were integral parts of the story later on. How's Superman going to be in two
Yeah.
places later on in the movie? Well, we got to have somebody help him. There's no
Right.
way the man could be, getting taken down by nanobots and taking, Bavaria or Bulgaria on, that war front that Lex started. They can't do both. So it's kind of the beginning, set up everything. But the setup was great because we didn't see Superman's origins again. We know who he is. He's the Man of Steel, Big Blue Boy Scout. Everybody knows who Superman is. That's starting off. This movie starts off with an explanation. Metahumans have been around for 3 years. Shit's been happening. So we already know. Metahumans have been out for 3 years. So Clark has been growing up throughout this whole time. But the superhero craze is kind of new. So people being out in the superhero. Right. So now that's an explanation for why is Green Lantern here? Why is Mr. Terrific here?
I love Green Lantern.
I see that
Mr.
as a comic fan. I see that scene as a setup. You had to introduce the Justice Gang, so you had to set up this bigger plot with Maxwell Lord, which we saw in Peacemaker, where we saw him recruiting other heroes into the Justice Gang with Green Lantern and Hawkgirl. So we see this kind of overarching story, which is what comic books do. That's where I see where all the praise from the critics, where that it gives you hope, which it does. It's like watching a comic book, and it is like watching a comic book because comic books don't always have the best plot, but especially Superman comics.
Yeah, no, they don't.
So if you're just trying to be good to the source material, it's very good to the source material. There's a bunch of Easter eggs in there for nerds like me, especially pulls even in the sound.
Right.
Not to jump to that, but with special effects, it's kind of hard to talk about those scenes without those original Christopher Reeve Superman.
I did pick that up.
Without that original soundtrack flavor. It touched on that, so you felt it was Superman. The casting for David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan, because that's what I wanted to talk to you about. We obviously did a bit of casting ourselves, and we've had some casting talks in the past. Personally, I think that Rachel Brosnahan for Lois Lane, I know this is your hot topic, so I wanted to put it out there first, because I don't know how you feel about David Cornsweet. Overall, I thought it was good casting.
So that's a hometown boy. So David, I think, is from Ardmore. And I will have to tell you before I forget everything. Lois Lane, they could have done better. They could have done a million times better with her. Because here's the thing.
How do you mean that?
Because, okay, I know she's supposed to be a little homely. Like, she's not supposed to be in the original. She's not a drop-dead gorgeous.
Well, the
busty,
origins, she's like every woman.
Yeah, she's an every, and that's what they bring back, because I think in other things that they portrayed Superman as, she's like this busty, like wearing a button-down and a skirt type of reporter, like nobody will take seriously type of situation, depending on who your person is who is creating that show. Now,
depending on the medium, if you're sticking to just movies, yes, I would kind of agree with you there. They've just went for the look. Even when you look at like, the Superman Returns with Brandon Routh, they kind of went for a young, attractive looking.
They did not with this, clearly,
Lois.
and she is a.
You don't think Rachel Brosnahan's cute? Oh my God, woman!
She's cute. She's not drop dead gorgeous. She's not.
No, she is cute.
She's a cute.
She was a great Miss Maisel.
Oh my God! I totally forgot that's where she's from. I love her. I love Miss Maisel. Not fond still of the actress who plays her though. I like her portrayed. I'm not too.
So you're not fond of the portrayal of Lois by Rachel Brosnahan?
Yes. Because here's the other thing too. She's whiny. They both are. David and Rachel are both very whiny people because here's the thing. They did that scene where they fought and had that argument so well it got on my nerves. I was annoyed by it because they did it so well. Either really great acting or you two are like that in real life. But
I see that as good acting because Rachel Brosnahan, she won an Emmy, I believe, for multiple times for Miss Maisel.
Oh my God!
So
Yeah.
she is at that level. That's where I think I'm very happy with the way she portrayed Lois Lane because she was still that. Lois has always been that fighter type. She's been out there. She's not going to, all right, Smallville, get back there. She's very rude and gruff. She portrayed that expertly during the movie.
Who was in Smallville?
Clark.
He was?
He's from Smallville. She calls him Smallville.
Oh, I missed that part, apparently.
That's Superman lore that you don't know.
Oh, okay.
From not
so
being a Superman fan.
I wasn't a Superman fan.
So,
no, okay.
But Lois, she was a good Lois. I love Superman. Superman and Batman were part of, every 90s boys grow up starter pack.
Yeah.
Especially stuff like Superman and Clark, or the Superman and Lois with Dean Cain. That doesn't age well. And the other one. So that's the thing about Lois is her portrayal in this, especially within a film aspect, I think is one of the better ones out of the Superman movies. David Corenswet, I think, did a absolute bang-up job as Superman because he even did like the G gollies and the pulling back from the comic book lore. There were so many scenes like when you're looking inside the Daily Planet or going that exterior of them walking in the Daily Planet. That was something that I thought was really well done. Some expertly done shots. Especially the scene with Lois and Mr. Terrific on the beach when they have that panning shot going around and Mr. Terrific is just blowing up all the different soldiers on the beach.
I really like that scene. Now, let me ask you a question.
But that goes to the effects part that you were talking about, of the effects of the movie. That the way they shot that, the way they make these scenes for 3D with things coming at you and blades coming at you, even in the... Jesus, that sounds horrible. Even in the beginning, where they get into the Fortress of Solitude to find the message from Krypton, from Superman's parents. So this is the one thing that this is a good opinion because you not being a Superman fan, this is the thing that they changed is Superman's origins in this movie, where Superman, for all intent and purposes, James Gunn made it so. Superman, that was the message from his parents when Lex unlocks the full thing. So Superman has this doubt of whether or not it's real. What did his parents, what were their thoughts of, what did they think he was going to do here? Having this conflicted past of my parents want this evil thing and I don't. It shapes his character well, and he does portray the conflict of, like, what am I supposed to do? This man with all this power, but you get the feeling of him being helpless, and he's not overpowerful like he was in the Zack Snyder universe. Zack Snyder's universe, he was like God. Well, this shows a man who's fallible, which is how I like they took this portrayal of Superman. It's more earthly, more down to its roots of where it came from the character. So as a Superman fan, I could say I liked it. The plot, like you already mentioned, the kaiju.
It didn't need.
It didn't really hit like they. I think they wanted. Here's the
other thing too. It didn't need to be 2 hours, and it's so funny because I've heard other people say that, and I thought
it didn't.
It didn't. I thought people were crazy, and I was like, "What do you mean a movie doesn't need to be 2 hours?" And then I'm a TikTok person, so I watched on TikTok, and people were doing reviews. The movie had unnecessary here, unnecessary there. I mean, I could have taken this out and taken that out and got you down to a good, like, hour and 25-minute movie, hour and 30-minute movie.
Did he need to go back to the farm and have that conversation with Ma and Pa on the
going back to the farm was
the little
clueless.
Existential crisis is nice for character building, James, but it was kind of useless.
Well, here's the thing. You said it, too. There was no sun when they got back there. There was no sun. They got him back in the dark.
Well, and here's the thing. If you take out that scene, does the movie still make sense?
Absolutely.
It didn't need to be there.
And here's the other thing where the movie would have still made sense. They could have talked about that kaiju thing being there. They didn't need to show it because that was in time. It ate all the time.
It could have been past footage
Yeah.
of Superman and the Justice Gang fighting, just like they did with that extra-dimensional being, how he just instantly described why something else is happening outside and he's not there.
I think
That's that infamous question. Whenever they can join these universes, one of Big Brother's infamous things. Where's Superman? What's he doing?
I've heard him say that before. Now, here's my other question to you. We're talking about time eaters, like space eaters. Let me ask you a question. The dog, Crypto, my favorite part of that whole movie was the dog.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Because, not only because he is an identical version of our dog, but
Oh, my God, so much.
I really honestly love that dog. Do you know why? Because there was passion behind those eyes. When you saw Superman, I think the main reason, and I'm going to feel passionate and I'm going to speak about this. The main reason I did not like those two is because acting together, they had zero chemistry.
You didn't see any chemistry
I saw
there?
absolutely. Now talking about the dog, you saw more chemistry with Crypto and
You did. You saw
and
more passion.
Superman.
John Wick and Superman, if you mess with their dogs,
Yes.
you're not getting out of it,
And it's
man.
not even his dog. It's not even Superman's
It's
dog.
not even his dog. It's
And
it's his cousin.
Yeah. So, she said, "Thanks, little bitch, thanks, bitch, for watching it," and
Yeah,
walked out.
You know, she's a whole other mess. Which Supergirl, that movie. Now I can't wait to watch that. That's
Yeah,
what
I would
he
watch
did
it.
right. He's making his statement with Superman, and then he gives you a little taste before the credits. The end credits is just Superman and Krypto sitting on the moon watching Earth.
Yes.
With Krypto, just kind of putting his head
Now
on his shoulder.
let me ask you a question.
That was well done because now you put the emphasis on your next movie at the end.
Yeah.
You don't overtly bring it to highlight and attention, but you're adding a little bit of lore there.
Exactly.
It adds appeal. So that's where he did things right, and he did, some things like the farm scene that could have been
Now,
better.
would I have been disappointed if I went and spent $60 to go to the movie and watch it? Yes. I would have been pissed.
You know what? I mean, with current movie prices, I don't think I would be as overall happy with it. Because the kaiju scene, there's scenes that don't necessarily need to be there. There were a lot of fan service. Now, there was service like that for comic book fans. There was service like that where if you're not even really a Superman fan like you can get into the movie. You didn't need to be explained anything.
No, I didn't. I watched it and
Sat down,
got my
watch it,
opinion.
got behind it. So it did things like that right for the theater market, and it's told a comic book come to life. You can bring your kid out to the theaters. You can watch it. They'll watch it thousands of times once it hits home. And there's parts that even you can enjoy while you watch it millions of times now that it's on streaming.
Do you know that they did a like the math for a family of four to go see that movie because they had popcorn buckets too, the infamous popcorn.
Oh my
buckets.
God, Jesus!
Teddy, if you're watching this,
Oh, we're gonna talk about you with the Galactus bucket alone. My friend Teddy bought.
Oh yeah,
And
that's for
you all just know how much that one was alone.
Yeah, so once they did
Those buckets are ridiculous
Once
because
they did-
they did the old newspaper
yes,
things,
which is really cool.
that's cute.
But
you know.
no, listen, they did a family of four and only 2 buckets, and that was $160 with sodas too. So you're not even getting 4 buckets, you're getting 2.
I may be dating myself here, but I remember being able to take a date out with $20 to go to the movies.
I went to the movies from the ages of 5 to 15 for 25 cents at a small little movie house. And
Well,
that included
I
free
had Granite
popcorn.
Run right up the street.
Yeah, you had Granite Run. It was
So
great.
that place stayed the same up until they knocked it down. Like
they
these
still-
sticky seats and all, they were the same.
Well,
they just
we-
put trash bags over the ones that didn't work.
Last year, we went to go see Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
And I swear the smell in that movie theater is still there from when I was in high school.
Yeah, Marple.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that old Marple. But that's what fans, I think, are getting tired of. I think more people align with my sentiment of I will wait until it gets to the streaming services that I pay for. And I could say that truthfully now. I'll wait for the streaming services that I pay for. I'm not going to go out there and spend $170 when I'm not getting that full
Exactly.
thing, you know? And there's some filmmakers that can do that. They can put out a film and you'll go. You know, special corn bucket or not, you'll still go and you'll get the candy.
Hey, if
you'll
Sean
get the
Gunn-
you'll get the chocolate, which you can get your chocolates over at Perjangers Treats, facebook.com/Perjangers Treats.
So, yeah, if Sean Gunn were to make a movie, I would go there and absolutely watch something he did because I love Sean Gunn. He's an actor. He's a comic book illustrator. He's done so much He's done so much. I'll never forget a speech from James Gunn saying the person that he respects the most is his little brother.
Yeah.
Because he does it all. He directs, acts, like I said, he's done comic books, he's done scripts, he's written, he's produced.
Yeah.
That man can do it all. But yeah, I'm the opposite.
After I looked into him a little bit, because even on this podcast platform, I've shit on his brother, on James Gunn putting his brother in absolutely everything. But then
He wasn't in this.
I would do the exact same fucking thing. You
Now,
know what I mean?
I was looking for Sean Gunn anywhere because
He could have added him as a voice. You never know.
because here's the thing.
Especially with those robots. I forget who
Oh.
they had on the robots, but there was another James Gunn tie to the people that were on the robots. It was another project, I believe. But
Yeah, I respect the
there's
Gunn. Now,
levels in
now
it
we
for
do-
people that want it.
yeah, now we do know my lineage. I am a Gunn. No relation at all, unfortunately.
God damn it.
But I am a Gunn.
Wrong guns.
But I am a Gunn. Here's the thing. Now, you said you would watch it again with Big Brother.
I will. I will watch it
Now, I
again
will
because
tell you,
as a comic book fan, it's a good comic book movie. It's not, I mean, among Superman, I think it captures that hope of the first one, which is something that Zack Snyder avoided.
Yeah.
He did a good Superman movie with the trunks on the outside. Zack Snyder got rid of the trunks. Everybody else had the trunks on the outside.
Yeah.
And the reason for the trunks on the outside was because Superman wanted himself to look more like a luchador.
yeah.
So the kids wouldn't be scared of this overall alien with superpowers and shooting lasers out of his eyes. Now, if he's dressed like a superhero from Luchador, you know, as he goes around the world and saves, he looks like a hero to them just from the look.
Yes.
So
yeah.
that was a nice touch. There's a lot of little things in there, but the overall story, there's not a little. It's not that there's too much going on.
They're
There's
kind of all over the place.
There's enough going on, but you know, like the whole schism. You had this gigantic schism and something else going on. It's like multitasking. There's no such thing as multitasking.
I've learned that. There's
You're
no such thing.
half-assing two things.
Now, can we divert from the half-assing for a second? Music and the sound, I thought was trash. I absolutely, except for the classic Superman music and the ta-da type
so the
of...
nostalgia didn't really
No,
put it over on
because
you.
here's the thing. You're so modern in that movie with cell phones and spaceships and flying saucer things.
It's a comic
You're-
book thing.
I know, but still, I'm going to look at it as your music and your sound. Your sound was good. I like the fact that they brought back the classic stuff from a little bit, from the old.
Yeah, the Christopher Reeves.
Yeah. I love Christopher Reeves. I wasn't, like I said, not a Superman fan, but I like Christopher Reeves. I like to see a little bit of that back, but like the music, I think they could have moderned it up a little bit. Like, it's a movie made in 25. You're obviously doing some a little bit more modern than.
Here's the thing. He always does that.
Okay.
Especially like he did with Guardians. Like all three Guardians and Peacemaker.
I don't
nothing
think you should let me watch
but,
Guardians. I will
you know,
tear it
a whole
apart.
bunch of fucking music
Yeah.
that he likes. Which, like you said, he has an eclectic taste. That's why he is an eclectic taste. Because it's not he adds in the music that he likes.
Yeah.
You know, that's why Superman's like, oh, I'm punk rock. The punk rock Superman was a weird touch, but it's from that age of
Yeah.
where we grew
Oh,
up.
another scene that could have stayed the hell out of that was the argument between him and Lois Lane while she was trying to interview
You
him.
did not. I can tell watching that scene. You did not like that
Because
scene.
let me tell you something. At the end of that argument, he walks the fuck out and does not even come back when she is upset.
I've never watched a scene and felt like I was going to be in trouble. Like,
Yeah, no.
why did he walk out? Like, babe, I didn't leave. Look, I
Like-
don't know why he did it.
Like, I'm sorry, but the whole argument was trash. Like, I think, honestly, that scene could have stayed the hell out. That could have been a good hour and 15, 20-minute movie. Like, you didn't need 2 hours to tell that story.
That argument was long over. You could have cut that.
Yeah, no,
just at
not,
the argument. He didn't necessarily need to just walk out and leave.
I would have loved to have had her say, hey, babe, you know, it's probably not a good idea for me to interview you. No matter what I say, just tell me it's not a good idea. Because here's the thing. I will start something like that with you and be like, dude, if I ever want to do this, just please give me some sense. Because obviously I had that sense at one point, so I'm going to have it again. Or I need to be reminded of it. But that argument could have stayed out. So I wouldn't.
That was more a device of showing that not just that Superman is flawed, but he takes this ideology of like, what? I'm a superhero. I'm just going to save people. I'm not out there representing the United States. I'm not out there representing anybody. I'm just going to help people because there was a war, and he doesn't understand that there are bigger geopolitics than just going and saving somebody because they asked for it. That is kind of an overarching theme between, I think, not just James Gunn, but more of a metaphor of the internet. You don't understand that just because this person thinks that they're doing something good, that doesn't mean anything. They're not following the laws. There's regulations. There's standards. There's things here. It's the exact reason why it's the same conversation, and that's where I think it's good that he had that scene in there because it stirs up things. That's what film is for. So when you're trying to look at a thing like saying, is this a film? I wouldn't say it's a film. I'd say it's an action movie. It's like a popcorn movie. You go get your popcorn. You don't have to think about it. Are there deeper tones and themes and more meanings? Yeah, there are. But that's why they put it in there as to why they had that. And I'm sure there are more meanings and deeper blah blah blahs to that whole scene that I didn't like with Ma and Pa Kent. They dumbed them down.
Yes.
That was kind of an insult to Ma and Pa Kent.
I don't care what James was trying to do. I don't care what his whole this is my eclectic taste. I'm emo. That's what I think instead of pop rock.
Pop runk. Everybody loves that pop runk music.
All right, we're over that. Pop rock. He's emo. But my other question to you. Mm-hmm. The dog.
Yeah.
I think he could have had more. I think they could have kept him in more. He just miraculously. How did he end up at the pet store?
Dogs wander.
Yeah, but he's a super dog.
How did ours end up in the trash with his legs hanging out? Same thing.
He's an idiot.
Crypto saw an open pet store window and a bunch of bones. That's a dog who saw a bunch of food and got sidetracked, okay? That's what I saw that scene. And you add crypto. You can't have crypto in there too much because then who's it about? It's not about Superman. It's about crypto. The dog scene of where's the dog? This stupid cape. Okay, you heard that, trying to make him seem unhinged. That's the whole point of that. It shows that Luthor is a mastermind, which is how he's trying to churn out all these different scenes and this kind of corkscrew. We got all this to work through, and I felt like he was trying to add in a little bit too much into it.
Yes. So
he could have focused on one of the other scenes a little bit more instead of adding in so much.
He made that movie what you would call tropey.
That's the thing, is when you get close to comic books and when you make it a comic book come to life, you will get into tropes.
I think James Gunn needs to watch the Spider-Man movies, the older ones. I think he needs to take not what they're doing and copy it. I think he kind of needs to take a lesson from how the story runs and it flows and it goes, because here's the thing. If I'm not a superhero or a Superman fan, right, and I am a kid and I'm watching that as my first Superman movie, I'm going to tell you something. I won't be a future Superman fan because you're not, okay, James, you might be have your own taste, have your own style, be eclectic. But you have to go for all audience and all age ranges when it comes to a superhero movie. Now, Deadpool, on the other hand, will tell you himself he is not made for kids. He is not a kid's superhero because he's not a superhero. You've got Superman, who is a classic superhero from way back before any of us were even born, or a lot of us. But you're going to take him and make him modern and not make him you're going to make that your first kid's.
Well, they did make him modern. He was supposed to have a harem.
That was another thing.
And what
Don't
they did,
even get me started on that.
what they did there with the second part of the message and what they did essentially is make them more like the Viltrumites from Invincible.
Oh, yeah.
How, you're supposed to put your seed in the planet, make it super powerful. It's like James Gunn saw Invincible. He's like, well, I'm going to steal that.
Oh, you know what? That's true.
Now that I mention it, it really makes sense, doesn't it?
God.
It's kind of like he saw that and he's like, I could add that in there. What if his parents, he has this struggle to go through of his parents being this person who is, has the wrong message for him. He doesn't get it all the way, but now it shows the world why they can't trust him. As opposed to nobody questioning this overall superhero because all he wants to do is do good.
Are you going to tell all the fans who I thought Luther?
So it's adding doubt.
Who did I thought play Luther? Who was I thinking?
Oh, who did you say?
Vin Diesel. He looked like a Timu.
No, it was Nicholas Hoult, who got paid more money than David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan combined to do that role.
Yeah.
My hat is literally off to you. It's right over there. But my hat's off to you. But that was a really good one. I thought he was perfectly cast as Lex Luthor.
Oh, I liked him. He was the only one I did like. I didn't like his storyline. I didn't like the writing. I didn't like.
But I
liked his acting.
A simple casting wise, he was perfect casting, and Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner.
Oh yeah.
Chef's kiss.
I love Nathan
Perfect. Perfect Guy Gardner. I've said it on this podcast many, many times. I am a Green Lantern fan. I've desperately said, just give me a good Green Lantern movie.
Would you like to tell the audience?
If that was the closest, I will get to that in a minute. But that was the closest we have gotten so far to a good Green Lantern. And he wasn't overly, he was supposed to be that character that you didn't like because that's who he was in the comics. He's not Hal Jordan. He's not the good guy like Superman. He is a thorn. He's a prick. So having that character accurately portrayed, he did a lot of things good, just like Hawkgirl. Really well done.
Oh, I like Mr. Terrific. Now, here's the thing. If I had to rate...
Mr. Terrific was fantastic.
So I'm not going to talk about him too much because I honestly want people to watch the movie and watch Mr. Terrific because here's my rating of characters in my eyes. I'm going to go with Green Lantern first. I liked him.
Oh, yeah, so good.
And then Crypto.
The middle fingers when he came in to save the day at the end were so perfect.
Wait.
You saw it in the trailers.
Oh, did you?
You saw it in the trailers. So that's not like a real deep cut there, but you saw that scene. But knowing, he came to get, that's why, Superman was busy with nanites in his breath, and he's doing a major, wrestling move with the world. And Guy Gardner's over there saving the day with the Justice Gang with Mr. Terrific, making it look easy.
So, then I liked Crypto.
And Metamorpho was amazing.
Now, I have to like Crypto as my second favorite character of the movie because he's Crypto, and he will go first, but I really liked Lantern. Now, here's my other thing. Mr. Terrific comes right after that. Now, Mr. Terrific, if you can actually watch a Superman movie and say that I liked every character, not the person who played him, but every character before the main character of the movie, the two main characters, because here's the other thing. The Eva, who played the girlfriend of Luthor, I thought her acting was spot the hell on.
She was really good.
Like,
she did a great job.
Like, here's the thing. Her character in this movie was every single Eva-type character that I have seen.
Her and Jimmy Olsen.
Yes.
Very well done.
See, Jimmy Olsen. Now, if you guys remember, anybody out there remember the old Disney World? I think it was Universal. They had a Superman. I think it was Universal. I could really be wrong here, but somewhere at Disney there was a Superman.
Maybe back in the day with Universal.
Yes, it's not there now. I can tell you
Six
that
Flags.
right now.
Maybe Six Flags.
Oh, maybe it was Six Flags. They own WB. They own
Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
So it was Six Flags. My bad. But I remember the characters walking around. There was a Lois Lane.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Jimmy Olsen. Jimmy Olsen was way back from the comic books, if I'm not mistaken. So I know Jimmy Olsen's character very well. I had cousins who were boys who loved to play Superman. Was I Lois Lane every time, just like Ninja Turtles, where I was April? Yes. I couldn't be Superman, and I couldn't be anybody else.
No, because you're
I'm
a girl.
Exactly. But do I know the names? Yes. Jimmy Olsen was spot on for this one. He's that nerdy one. Now, in other
They made him a
versions-
little bit of a playboy, which
They
I
did.
liked. They sparked him up a bit, which I thought was a really good point to Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah,
is how
because
they just
he was
made him
always-
a little bit more realistic.
Well, he was always Lois Lane's puppy dog. Who
Yeah.
was following Lois Lane around. I like
Yes.
Lois Lane. I love
Yes.
Lois Lane. I want Lois Lane.
Mm-hmm.
But Lois Lane was that much into Superman and Clark Kent that
Mm-hmm.
they quote unquote live together in the movie. You could get that sense that he's there a lot. He just walks in.
Well, I mean, he does just fly right in and
Yeah.
start taking off his boots when that interdimensional being's fighting the Justice Gang outside. He's just
Exactly.
like, oh, man, I've had a rough day.
Yeah, like almost ask for a beer. Sit down, take his boots off, ask for a beer. But
Oh, God.
here's where I'm getting
Public's rough. Can't
Here-
find my dog.
Yeah, that would have been tough, especially in this house. Oh my God. Here's the thing.
I really felt that. The guy's just searching all of Metropolis for this damn dog.
And then you
and
find
he's
out
in
why.
another dimension.
Yeah. Well, I know, right? Now, here's the thing. I want to put that out there. When you really, really like every character but the main character and how they wrote him in, it says something for the movie. And it
It's
says
also
something for the
that
writing.
also comes to Superman. He's actually kind of a lame
You know what,
character,
though?
like
Yeah.
like Captain America.
No point. Yeah.
They're kind of dull.
Green Lantern.
No. Their stories are.
Well, you should tell them.
You don't know.
You
don't
should
know
tell
Green
them
Lantern,
this story.
but
No,
that's
I don't.
fine.
But no, neither does the guy at UPS store.
No. Oh Jesus, yeah. So we walk into UPS to
I
drop
did
off
not.
a parcel.
I unfortunately missed us.
And she's in the car, and I'm wearing my Green Lantern shirt, which is just the logo, like my Deadpool shirt I'm wearing. And I drop off the package. Guy's like, cool, got your receipt for you. And he looks at me and he goes, I love Big Bang Theory. And I look down at my Green Lantern shirt, and my soul slowly started decaying from the inside. It started to crumble, slowly but surely. So I walked around. I was very nice, and I was like, ah! And I quickly got the hell out of there and told her how my soul is quickly dying.
What was my reaction?
You were wondering why I was just like staring off into nothingness. You're like, what? What happened? And I was just like, I needed a moment to collect myself, to physically say, oh my God, this guy physically just said this. Like, I get Sheldon wore a Green Lantern shirt, but it was a Green Lantern shirt. That's why I will never watch that show. So many people who don't like nerddom, and they think they see a nerd out in the wild and like, I'm going to connect with him. Hey, love Big Bang Theory, am I right? I will strangle you right
Do you
now.
remember before we started dating when I first got here and my daughter said that you and Steve reminded her of Sheldon and the other guy? His BFF. And they were like, oh my God. Now,
Yeah, we don't need to.
I'm gonna
I
tell
don't need
you.
to relive that
I'm
one.
gonna give you my stars out of 5 for this movie.
All right, we're doing 5 stars?
We're
Okay.
doing 5. I'm giving it 2.
You're giving it 2 stars?
I'm giving it 2.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm standing firm on
You're a
2
bit
stars.
Rough.
Like,
oh my God.
they have to watch it again for Steve, and I will be partaking
On
in
second
TikTok.
watching, when we do another spoiler alert, this is, M&J spoiler alert. When we do another spoiler alert, you're going to have to update people if you have a change of heart on second watching.
I'm only going to graze at it occasionally, between that and TikTok.
But I'm telling you, I'm not going to go overly, this was perfect, but I thought he did a lot of really good things. There were a lot of Easter eggs in there that I liked that were just nods to the comic, even down to the kaiju. There was a lot of scenes where Superman's holding the robot broken in half. That's ripped right out of the comic. He did a lot of stuff where these scenes were ripped right out of the comic, and a guy like me really appreciates that on watching, because there's something for everybody. You love the dog. I love the little bits and Easter eggs, and, Ultraman being the Hammer of Bavaria. It wasn't the comic book Ultraman. It was a separate thing.
Right.
This is a clone. The other thing I liked is how Superman took him out. He took him out and he left him in the earth.
Yeah.
What does that tell me? That tells me he can come back later on, which they can probably turn him into Doomsday if you're doing a comic book writing line. That's how I would do it. He's buried in the earth. Luthor can come back, do some more experimentation on him, maybe getting some of the DNA from the dog. Maybe the dog has Kryptonian resistances that Superman doesn't. So they genetically manipulate him into being a Superman killing machine, which is Doomsday. So then in other movies, you can Easter egg in Project Doomsday or something like that, however you want to do it. And you just tease it, and then bring that as a connection into Superman's death, because the death of Superman tore up the 90s. People were literally wearing black badges in real life.
Oh my
They were
God.
wearing black armbands when Superman died. So
Were you
tying
one of
in
them?
that is tying into a cultural event and all of that. And no, I didn't do that.
Okay.
But Superman's death, the death of Superman, was a icon. That's why those comics and all that are just, praised by people now who know the comic line and stuff. That was big. They didn't, comics really weren't doing good. So what did they do? They killed off Superman, and then they brought him back. But one of the many times they kill off people, they bring him back, they kill him off, they bring him back. That's where the ridiculousness of the story comes into being a comic book come to life. That all of that mess does sound like something when you lay it out that happens in a comic book. It's not necessary. So is it bad writing, or did you just go for the comic book feel a little? But they did make it feel like I was watching a comic book. That's why I would more on the lines go to a 4 out of 5 stars.
4 out of 5.
I would go 4 out of 5 because I love the casting. The special effects were amazing. The action scenes weren't just for effects. There weren't a lot of explosions and that when the effects wise, when the actual effects come into the problem that's affecting the city, which is affecting the build of why does Superman have to beat this guy? Because he has to figure out this tear that's about to destroy the whole universe. Well, that's where the effects come in, because all these iconic New York hit buildings are crumbling down, down, down. And then you have the kaiju attacking in, Times Square. You have all these different things happening.
Did they ever specify it was New York, or did they call it Metropolitan?
Well, no, that's Metropolis, but it's like
Metropolis,
their version of Times Square. You drop in a kaiju, That's the thing of tying into the comics, tying into everything that they can, but also making it an approachable movie for people. Why I can enjoy it as a comic book fan and say, that was a good Superman movie.
Right.
It gave you hope. It had some good stuff with Krypto, which live action has never shown Krypto. But James Gunn, being the smart man he knows, that a younger audience viewer or somebody who may not be a Superman fan will look at a baby Groot, a raccoon with a talking tree. They'll look at these characters and they'll love those characters. They may not like anything else about the movie, but they'll love those characters. That's the success of Krypto in that, to where there's something for everybody in there, and it's opening up a broader universe. Having the Justice Gang there involved in the story felt like I was watching a Justice League episode from, my childhood. So he did a lot in there to tie it in for me as a comic book fan, and also keep it wide open for a brand new generation of viewers.
Like, I will.
So it wasn't like Man of Steel. It wasn't Batman versus Superman, to where it was overly dark. Here's this god descending on people because he thinks he's so well. It's poking holes in the armor and showing that he was human and he was not this god among men, which the first leg of the DC phase of the DC universe with James Gunn is titled Gods and Monsters. So they're seeing Superman as like this alien god. They're seeing this overly powerful person, and now they're seeing, he was just sent to Earth to make a harem, and You know, he's like,
Yeah.
whoa, Kansas boy here, don't need a harem. You know, you have that dichotomy of making it modern as well as trying to stay faithful to the comics, and I think he tiptoed that line well. I wouldn't say it's like overtly, hands down, this is the best movie ever, but I do think it is a really good Superman movie, and I think it's well worth the watch.
Absolutely. If you guys want to go see it, I'd say absolutely go into it with an open mind. Crypto's adorable.
This for a second. Oh, God. Hang on. I got it.
Oh.
Move that. Move my head. So you can see that follower count right there. We're almost at 100 followers right here. So I wanted to make sure that people know to go ahead and hit that follow button right over there. And make sure you like and subscribe to all the Perjangers and Wallhangers Media Network. Jillian has a podcast she does with Brianna called Sex Ed and Everything in Between, as well as I do a podcast with Big Brother every single week called Lug Nuts. We're working on bringing back other podcasts like Silly Little Podcast. We got different buns in the oven with Lug Nuts and documentaries and other stuff galore. So we want everybody to go ahead and like, share, subscribe. And if you like this content, it'll show us that we need to make more of the spoiler alerts for you, gang. But this was a spoiler alert for Superman.
And don't forget, spoiler alert, we will be at Fright Fest this Friday at 4 o'clock. So
yeah,
4 to
Thornberry
whenever-
Farm in Westchester. We're going to be there. They're showing Hocus Pocus.
Yep, we're there
And
from 4 to whenever we sell out. And tell them who's going to be there.
They're digitally showing a message from the cast that was in Hocus Pocus.
The original.
The original. They got them phoning in and, you know, showing off a nice message for people. We're going to be there. Wall janging, dipped candy apples are going to be there in candy and caramel flavored, as well as some other chocolatey treats from Perjangers Treats.
We'll have
And
about
then-
50 of them, so you come and get them before we sell out. Also,
Limited supplies, so come while supplies last.
the weekend after, we will be at
We have
Plymouth
another one.
Plymouth Meeting Mall
Plymouth Meeting Mall.
for 2 days. The same time the mall's open, we're
Art
there
Expo
open to
there.
close. Yeah, they have
Vendors
a
galore, so come out to the Plymouth Meeting Mall, get art by Janaea. We haven't really solidified the name, but my niece Janaea is selling all of her canvas artwork. Really awesome anime
Moy, if
ties.
you hear this, if you're listening,
So-
start crying now.
Yeah, we have the Plymouth Meeting Mall. You'll see her and I out there for Perjangers Treats. Obviously, Bucarell Photography will be there capturing videography and photography of the event. And Perjangers Treats, art by Janaea. You'll find us all there at Fright Fest and the Arts Festival over the Plymouth Meeting Mall, October 4th and 5th. And then Fright Fest, which is this Friday of September 26th. So nothing left to do but to end off the podcast. And I try to do this the same goddamn way every single time. We love you. We miss you. And we want to see you next time, gang. Until then, drive on and game on. Bye-bye.
Bye.